Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the first episode of 2023 of
We're
Hello
back.
Hello the podcast.
We're back.
Happy New
Yes.
Year.
Happy New Year to everyone listening, to you as well, Jenz and
You
Steven, and
too.
all the little kitty cats. Did you guys get up to much over the New Year?
Jack shit is what we did.
Bro, same. Oh my God. Yeah. What did I do? I worked on New Year's Eve.
Oh, did
Not
you
till late,
really?
obviously, but I worked on New Year's Eve and then
Was it
came
busy?
home and no, it was dead quiet. Yeah. But came home, sat down, and I think we were just playing. I think we played Fortnite, honestly.
Nice.
For most of the night. And then yeah, went, oh shit, it's midnight. Happy New Year. And watched
we
a
went to
live stream of
bed
the fireworks. Yeah,
at
no,
11:40.
yeah. We were very close to going to bed. I think we went to bed right before 12 o'clock, but like we just laid in bed and watched the fireworks like on our iPad.
Yeah,
and
then
that
went to
was
bed.
that was how we rung it in, and then went to bed straight after it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I didn't get up to much fun this year. I'm glad I didn't though, because I'm not sure if you guys would have seen it, but the pandemonium in the city here in Sydney was
I'm
just
not surprised.
ridiculous. Like town hall was closed. People
wow.
it was just a mess. So
I mean,
yeah,
people camp to see the fireworks.
yeah.
Like,
And
no
that already
thanks.
happened. People were camping, and I was like, yeah, no, not even worth it. Like I came
No.
home and I joked to Emma, I was like, hey, should we go to the city just to see the fireworks? And I'm really glad that we didn't, because yeah, that would have been a mess. But
Totally, yeah. I don't want to go watch it and go deaf
No.
and get asthma. No thanks.
no, I've seen them before. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
you know.
alright.
all right, yeah. But yeah, what about after New Year's? Did you guys do anything else fun after New Year's? You been playing anything fun or interesting, or other than Siege?
Honestly, all I've been playing is Siege. I have
Yeah,
tried. I did try Vampire Survivors yesterday.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, something a bit
a lot
different.
of a little variety in my life. A lot of pixels. That's all I can say about
Yes.
it.
Yes, it is. It's quite a retro-y inspired game.
Yeah,
That's for
the
sure.
music is good.
yeah.
But yeah.
No, I've heard it's quite a fun one. So it's I'm down to check it out at some point, but just gotta find
You
the
might
time,
enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Barjo he enjoys it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I've seen him be playing it a fair bit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. But alrighty, gents, it's episode 1 of the year. Technically, episode 75 of all the things we've done, but episode 1 of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just crack straight into the news? Because there's a little bit of news to start the year off this year. We got a little bit of stuff. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
But
like
a little bit of stuff.
some exciting tech stuff because CES happened.
That's true. I've been seeing some wacky shit coming out of CES. That's always a very interesting time of year.
Yeah.
A lot of it's still very conceptual stuff, but
Oh, absolutely.
lot
but
of it,
still.
yeah, there is
Tech.
some cool stuff that's coming out. We all enjoy tech here,
I mean, in Australia, we're a bit lagging. Speaking of which, to the
Yes.
first topic.
Yes. Very good segue, Jens.
The Steam Deck is now being sold in Australia by online retailers. Not official Steam Deck, like Valve.
Bit of an asterisk next to that title there, but
I mean, they're like official units, but you're not buying it through Valve. You're just, and I don't know how these retailers are getting it.
The thing is too, they're not even, they're official units, obviously, because they're like proper Valve Steam Decks, but they're the US versions because that's literally the only place that you can buy them. So as much as you can theoretically buy them in Australia, you still have to get like a transformer or like a different, adapter to be able to actually power them and charge them up and things like that. So it's that's why I said there's a bit of an asterisk next to it. It's weird that I saw this headline a couple of days ago, and it's popped back up again. But I was looking for I just piqued my interest a couple of weeks before the end of the new year. I was like, I wonder if Stream Decks are available in Australia yet. Went to the Steam website, couldn't see a lick of it on the Australian one.
Yep.
So I Googled it. Obviously, the first link was the Steam Deck page, and took me straight to the US site. I was like,
yeah,
that's the issue. So it's interesting that Valve hasn't actually dropped it like globally yet, because it's a very popular device. Very popular.
I wonder if they're just worried about like being like another PlayStation 5 where it's like we are selling it everywhere, but no one can get their hands on it because
Yeah.
it's
Well,
just
I do remember when they first announced it, that there was a bit of a pandemonium about trying to get them pre-ordered and how they did like a raffle
yeah.
system, and people were still like they were selling their raffle tickets for the raffle system, and
Yeah.
like it was still a bit of a mess, you know.
Bro, when I heard the VGAs were giving away one every minute,
Yeah.
oh, like
Yeah.
that what a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Give all of those to
That's
Australia, please. Like, come on.
yeah, honestly. But no, I would be very interested if Valve is to release them in Australia. I
Officially.
I honestly would be very interested in getting my hands on one, you
I was
know?
gonna say, would you
Um
buy one?
I
Given
think
the
I would.
price point.
Yeah, I think I would. When I was looking into them, I was tossing up between the 64 or the 256 gig version. And I still think
Yep.
I'd go for the 256 gig one over the 64 because
Yep.
that's just a bit too small, you know?
And
Um,
can't you like unofficially increase it?
you can, yeah. You can. I think I think it's got a micro SD card slot that you can expand it with, but I think
Yeah.
also the M.2 slot is quite easily accessible as well if you wanted to pull it apart
Right.
and change that too. Um, so it's because I think I've seen a teardown of it. I'm not sure if it's this or something else I'm thinking of,
Mm.
but it is relatively simple to a degree to upgrade it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're talking about it as well because yeah, like Jen sort of touched on before, there are some retailers that do service Australia that have been selling it. A lot of which though are grey market retailers. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Jens, but Catch, Kogan, and Dick Smith are
Yes.
all grey market sellers. So it's as much as it's they're selling it in Australia, it's not Australian stock, so it doesn't come with an Australian warranty. It doesn't come with all these sorts of things. Likewise on Amazon as well, because as much as it's being sold on Amazon, it's not being sold by Amazon Australia.
Yeah.
It's
So
being
they
sold
don't.
by like distributors on Amazon services. So
Mm.
again, it doesn't have that warranty. So for all those that are interested in purchasing one through these sort of sites, do take it with a grain of salt that if anything does go wrong, you're probably going to have a pain in the ass of trying to get it serviced.
Yeah.
But it's
I
Um,
mean, hopefully
no,
with
go on.
the age of tech right now, it
Mm,
should be okay. But like, I don't know, Kogan, Catch, and Dick Smith. Whenever I hear those sites, I'm like,
yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I
I'd
don't
be
know.
very very wary of purchasing off them and things like that. If it's just like a towel, sure, go for it. Get it off
Yeah, but if
Catch.
it's like a TV,
Yeah,
I don't
props
know.
up, bro. Spend a little bit extra, get something a little bit
Go
nicer
to
that comes with a
JB,
warranty. Yeah, come see
ask
your
for
boy,
Ramo.
something like that. But no, and the price points as well, not that
Oh
bad.
my god, they vary though.
Honestly, they do vary quite heavily, so I'm very interested to see how they're actually pricing these. So I'm going to start off with Kogan Gens, right? We're
Yeah.
going to do it by the 64 going up in storage size. So 64, 256, and 512. Kogan selling the 64 gig one for 823 Australian dollars plus shipping. They're selling the 256 gig one for just over 1,000 at 1,008 Australian dollars plus shipping. And then for the 512 gig one, $1,299 plus shipping.
hmm
Right?
And
Not
I
that
think
bad.
converted, it was like 1,000 for the 512.
Yes. Yeah.
I think if you
But you,
convert it from the
yeah, but you'd
US
also think
website.
as well, usually Google
Yes,
like
it's a
the things,
better.
it's a little bit askew with sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's a ballpark sort of figure around that $1,000 mark. Going down to Catch, the 64 gig model they're selling for $838, a little bit more expensive. The 256 gig one, 1,016, again a little bit more expensive, but they're undercutting Kogan
Mm.
with the 512 gig one a little bit by selling it for $1,269, down from Kogan's $1,299, which is a little bit interesting. More so talking about undercuts, go down to Dick Smith.
I don't know
They've
what's
got
happening here.
two different versions of the 64 gig one. I don't know what they're doing here, but Dick Smith is absolutely flat out insane prices. So currently, if you wanted to, at the time of recording, one of the models, the 64 gig one, sold out for $691, but they've got a second model on their website that's $858 plus shipping in 64 gigs again. So that's what I mean. It's a little bit skew if, but for an extra like $8, you can go and buy the 256
Mm.
gigabyte version for $867 plus shipping. And then again, undercutting quite heavily compared to the other two we've talked about. The 512 gig model, Dick Smith selling for $1,127 and shipping. So it seems like if you're interested in a somewhat sketchy Steam Deck, head to Dick Smith, because they're flogging them off by the sounds of it.
Do not buy that 64 gig version, or I will be pissed, because
No.
you better be buying that 256 minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
With those prices.
I feel like the only people that are going to be buying that 64 gig one are going to be like aunties and uncles that don't have an idea and found it on like little Timmy's Christmas list.
Or they're just like,
yeah,
exactly. They're buying for their niece or nephew, and they just don't know what the fuck sizes mean.
What's a 64 GB? I don't. Yeah. So that's what probably is going to be buying those ones. But then if you wanted to go to a somewhat maybe easier like company to deal with, I guess. But this is where, look, okay. So you're going to be paying a little bit more for convenience because it's coming from Amazon. But when I say a little bit, it's a fair bit more compared to the other ones.
Fair bit.
But it's, so Amazon, I'm going to say in quotations because it's not really Amazon, but Amazon is selling the 64 gig model for $985 with free shipping though. Hang on a minute.
Oh, generous.
Hang on a minute. This 256 gig model they're selling for $1,185 again with free shipping, and then the 512 gig one for $1,445 and free shipping included in that one too. So it's Amazon is definitely the most expensive place to currently buy one. But again, I feel like if you're going to have any issues with it, the Amazon store is going to be a lot easier place to deal with than Dick Smith, Catch and Kogan probably put together. So it's, I guess it depends on if you wanted to put a little bit of extra money into a little bit of extra peace of mind, or if you
you can also get them on StockX, and I think you can also get them from Valve if you like
if you VPN and things like that. Yeah, I'm fairly confident I've seen a bunch of people doing that as well. But I have seen a bunch of people also stating that there's a chance that Valve isn't doing a global release for the Steam Deck at the moment because there might be a reissue, like a Steam Deck 2.0 or something like that they put out that is a global release. And this initial Steam Deck was kind of just a feeler to get a feel for the market, to see how many people were actually interested in it, you know? Because portable gaming these days is becoming a lot more popular, obviously with, the Switch sort of kicking it off a lot. And then all of the cloud computing and cloud streaming services coming in as well, which were taking a fair bit of the market too. So it's, but there's been a bunch of other like smaller companies that have been making Steam Deck-like products for years now. Years. Which are a fair bit cheaper than the Steam Decks, but they're also a little bit more underpowered as well. So again, you got to weigh up your options. I have seen a bunch of reviews of people that have Steam Decks that have been like, for its price, its performance is surprisingly good. So I guess going with the
reviews are pretty decent for a first gen of this type of thing. So it's exciting. I would love one just to like be able to play my Steam library. It'd be fun.
Just for on the go and things like that. You know, like you think you're going to Japan in a couple of months, so like you could take it for the plane ride. Like, time you know, like it'd be great. So it's just things like that. I wouldn't use it to replace my PC. Obviously, I feel like that would be kind of silly. But again, it's just another little toy to play with. You know, that's what I love, little toys. Yeah. So. But moving on, Jens, another little toy that we actually thankfully both managed to get our hands on before, all this craziness happens.
Chaos.
But Sony reportedly says that PlayStation 5s are no longer going to be having stock issues, which is, somewhat true because I've been noticing a lot more stock in our back room.
Oh, good.
But after almost 2 years of like having stock issues and saying that, yes, they're coming out more, but then they're not, but they also, being a absolute nightmare to deal with, mainly due to the global computer chip shortage and things like that. We had a silicon chip shortage a couple of years ago, and it did not just impact PlayStation 5s, but also like RAM sticks for PCs and a bunch of other little components and things too. Sony reported at the CES that they're now not going to have any more of those issues going forward. They've since managed to get a hold of a lot more chips and things like that. And going to be able to sort of manage it a little bit easier. So yeah, the CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, come out on stage and said that PS5s should be now relatively easy for players to get their hands on going forward. And then he also said that his team managed unprecedented demand amid global challenges over the past 2 years. I don't know how well managed unprecedented demand is. Like, I don't know if that's the right string of words to use there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was managed quite well. I'm sure they managed the best they could because obviously it was really in their hands.
With the resources that they had, yeah.
It's a bit of an interesting choice of words there, Jim.
Yeah, they definitely didn't reach everyone's demand because it was through the roof.
That first Christmas time, I'm glad that I didn't work for any sort of retailer that was selling them at the time. But that first Christmas time where PlayStation 5s were like a thing would have been an absolute nightmare to work for. Like, absolutely nightmare.
Like, every customer would be asking you the same question. Do you have any
every single time.
5s?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I feel like they say it in that exact tone as well, because the customer's also just as tired of asking as the shop worker hearing it.
Totally.
You know, because that's the 19th store they've been to that day. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's, so if you're still out there looking to get your hands on a PlayStation 5, it should somewhat be easier within the next coming weeks or months.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, just keep your eyes and ears peeled and things like that. They are quite expensive still. They're obviously not going on any sort of sale and things like that. But just keep your eyes peeled for a bundle, because they're usually the best way to get like a little bit of everything as well. I thought I also saw a headline. I didn't put it in because it was just a little bit of news, but I guess I can touch on it now too. But there are reportedly leaks and rumors that there is a new PlayStation 5 bundle that should be coming sometime in the next couple of months as well, which is going to come with just an extra controller in the box. So,
interesting.
You know, instead of getting a single controller, you get 2 controllers, which would be great for families as well. Because usually if you've got like a brother or sister, you got a couple of people that want to play with you and things like that, you've always got to get an additional controller. So it's nice that they're sort of thinking of that and just throwing an extra one in the box now.
Nice.
So it's that'd be cool. I wonder though, because I'm one for the funky controllers and things. I recently bought one of the pink PlayStation 5 ones.
Oh, cool.
Because they're on quite a heavy discount and things like that. But I wonder if it is going to be a colored one or if it's just going to be another white.
I feel like it's going to be white.
I feel like it would, because I think they're trying to flog those things off like nothing. They probably want more people to spend the extra $10 and get the colored ones.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing. They want people to spend money.
But those controllers are so funky. I love them. I
mean, anything different to a controller, I'm all for. I mean, that's why I pre-ordered my Ragnarok one, because it was just something different.
That's true. Yeah,
speaking of controllers, Sony has announced a new accessible PlayStation 5 controller, which I think
is massive. Yeah,
it's huge. Like, and I'm so glad it's happening. Because I don't know if they've ever had one.
No,
I could be wrong, so forgive me if I am. But Sony
they've never had one, but Xbox has had one for
Xbox has one,
2 years, 3 years now, maybe even a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. The Xbox controller is very, very limited compared to the new Sony accessible controller.
Yeah.
Because I think the Xbox one is pretty much like a box version with the same buttons just spread out. And that doesn't really, cover everyone and make it unlike the Sony one.
Yeah because the Sony one looks funky compared to
absolutely.
the Xbox one looks kind of like a fight stick. It looks like a fight stick, like where you've got like Jen said, like a rectangle. It's got like a joystick on it. It's got like a couple of buttons to the left and right and things like that. But the PlayStation one looks like it's spherical. I obviously have an image. I have an image behind us for those that are watching on the YouTube. But it looks like a circle. It's very funky. It's got all these buttons around the outside and things like that. They look very easy to hit. You can edit the buttons as well depending on where you want them. It just it looks funky. So
yeah, absolutely. So the new controller is codenamed Leonardo, and it features a disc-shaped design with 8 separate paddles, each of which can be programmed to act as a number of functions normally accessible on the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, like you said. Each paddle on the controller can be programmed to act like a button, and that multiple functions can also be mapped onto one button, like pressing R2 and L2 at the same time, because you might not be able to do that.
Well, yeah, some games also utilize like multi-button presses as well.
Totally.
Like it's not just A, it's not just X, it's not just Alt. It's sometimes you do need to hold a couple
A
of
and
buttons.
X
So
or
it's
L2 and whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is awesome, and I love the fact that you can map it yourself. I wonder if the PlayStation 5 detects that you have an accessible controller, if it will automatically, how they have the map bindings, and you can kind of change them with a normal DualSense controller. I wonder if they'll give you a profile specific to each game, being like, hey, this game needs an R2 and L2 at the same time. This would be probably a better mapping for this style of game.
I'm sure they could add it in. I'm sure they could add it in, but it would have to be a PlayStation software update because it wouldn't be able to run like off the controller itself. I don't think. If you were using this accessible controller for PC, I'm sure you'd be able to very easily set up different,
profiles.
Things that would just change it depending on what game you're running and things like that.
Because that would be kind of annoying to like.
Well, that's the thing.
Playing two different games at the same time, and you want to take a break from one, you have to rejig the controller to play the other game, and then if you just wanted to go back quickly, you just have to rejig again. It's like that.
Yeah.
I hope like ease of use.
I'm sure that would have come up in a board meeting somewhere, right? I'd hope at least. Because it's that would be quite a big oversight if they hadn't thought of it at least. Because the thing is as well, I don't know, this controller isn't out for a little bit still. It's not like it's already out on the market, I don't think.
No date that I saw.
Yeah, so I think it's still just like an announcement for it and things like that. So they might still be working on a little couple of things behind the scenes, software side, not so much the controller side itself. In a way to prepare it, I guess, for what's when it does officially announce and things like that and release and come out and all that sort of stuff. But I'm more surprised that Sony hasn't jumped on this just a little bit sooner. Because like I said, that Xbox One's been out for a good couple of years now and things like that. And as much as it's probably not the best thought out, accessible controller and things like that, it was still a giant leap forward for, accessibility in the gaming world and things like that, not just in the games themselves and having, just narrative-based modes where the games are a little bit easier for people that just want to play a little bit of an easier game and having, different controlling, but actually having something physical that people with physical disabilities can actually utilize, so it's surprising, but I guess Sony was maybe just, they saw it and went, oh shit, but thought, you know what? No, we're going to perfect this. We're going to make it work just a little bit better. We're not going to copy them and make something that's just the same thing, but with, white and blue colors instead of green and black. It's, maybe they thought we'll do one up and things like that. And it seems that that's the consensus. It seems like a lot more people online have been like, this does look like a nice, accessible controller compared to what's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you don't need, it's not solely for PlayStation. You can use this on PC, I believe.
Yes, because it'll just plug in via USB to the console.
And so the nice thing is like they've added 4 3.5 millimeter auxiliary ports so that you can plug in like extra switches or analog sticks and such. So yeah, that I love that this is a thing and how thought out it is. Oh, the other thing about this controller, unlike the Xbox One, is that it is designed to be laid flat so that you don't have to hold it up. But it can also be set down on a tabletop or a wheelchair tray because it's compatible with mounts and tripods, which is so cool.
That is funky. Yes. That's what I mean, though. I feel like they've taken just a little bit of an extra step just to make it like just a little bit more thoughtful.
I'm pretty sure they did work with like a lot of companies like Able Gamers, and they've spoken to people and they've tested this. I'm also wondering why now, because I feel like 2022 there was a lot of talk about accessibility throughout the year, like in games for with motion sickness, but also to like controllers and stuff. So I wonder if this has been just a long thing that they've been thinking about, or if 2022 there was more discussion in the public and they were like, oh, we need to get on this now.
Look, I feel like something like this is going to take a bit longer than a year to cook up, you know? So I feel like Sony has been working on this in the background for maybe even just a year earlier than last year, you know, or even less, something like that. But yeah, I feel like last year was sort of the perfect catalyst, I guess, to like come out with something like this. It was just the right time. Does it seem like Sony's capitalizing on the news? Potentially. Who's to say? But it's still a big win. That's the thing too. There's still a great
item to
but
have.
It's still it's a big win for all of the people out there that are actually going to utilize this controller and things as well. So I'm down for it. I'm always here for something that's going to let more people play games, or people that have already been playing games play them a bit easier. You know, because I've seen tons of people out there on the internet that, you know, they've had arms amputated, they've had something, you know, hands, limbs, fingers amputated, something like that, you know, just an example. But they're still using a traditional Xbox controller or a traditional like DualSense or, you know, PlayStation controller, and they're holding it under their chin and they're using their like it just, and these people are incredible at how they've adapted their own you know, their own limitations to be able to still play games. So having something like this that they can just now easily grab this controller
with
and
comfort.
use it 10 times easier, 10 times comfier, 10 times, you know, more intuitive is a big win. So
I'm very curious on the price point of this, if they're gonna have it the generic DualSense price, which is $99, or if it's gonna be less. So
look, I feel like it'd be a little bit more expensive.
Oh, you reckon it'd be more expensive?
If I was a betting man, I feel like it would, just because you think, again, like you just said before, they're a business. They've put R&D into this, right?
Yeah.
It might only be $10 more expensive. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you also got to think too, it's not going to be mass purchased, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone and their brother is going to go out and pick up one of these controllers. It's going to be a very select niche sort of crowd, I guess, that's going to purchase it. So again, they probably understand that the market for this isn't ginormous. Compared to people that are going to pick up a standard,
and they kind of have the monopoly as well, so they can kind of set whatever they want. But I guess the thing is, for people purchasing this, is that it's not purely for PlayStation. You can use this anywhere else. So that's the nice thing about it. That if it is $10 more than a generic controller, then yeah.
I mean, look, we literally just said it about 5 minutes ago. I would happily pay the extra $10 so my controller can be pink instead of white. So I'd happily pay an extra $10 if I had no wrists that I could still use a controller. I'd happily pay the extra $10. You know. So it's but no, big win for those people out there that are actually going to utilize the controller. Very happy to hear that they're doing something like this. Moving on, Jen's, a little bit of a change of pace, but it is that time of year. Obviously, it's the start of the year. Companies out there, they want to make an impact. They want to try and get as much news out there as possible so that gamers and fans out there are interested in their products and not the other team's products. And so reports are suggesting that Xbox is going to hold a developer direct at the end of the month, which is like a week and a half, 2 weeks away, which is very exciting. So yeah, it seems that Xbox is going to be holding some form of a showcase late January. The showcase is reportedly set to detail 2023 plans for the Xbox brand. It's said to include games like Redfall, Forza Motorsport, and Minecraft Legends, just to name a few. There's probably going to be a couple of indie games thrown in there as well, but they're like the big ones. The reported date for the showcase has been set for 12 p.m. PT, January 25th. In the US, which is 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on the 26th for us here in Oz. So mark that down in your calendars. And it's, so for those hoping to see a little bit more of Starfield, or some of Bethesda's upcoming games and things like that, they're bigger ones, I wouldn't hold your breath, because there's suggestion that Starfield isn't going to even be making an appearance at all during this, but is instead going to be getting its own dedicated showcase some point later in the year. Very much similar to what Nintendo does with some of their bigger titles and things like that, where they announce it in a direct, and then, you know, a couple of months before the game's actually meant to announce, they have their own dedicated direct just for that game, to give like a whole dump of news and things like that. which makes sense. You know, I feel like for a game of Starfield's scale and things like that, and just how popular it's going to be as well, I don't see them being like, oh, we're going to touch on this for 4 minutes and then move on to the latest Cuphead DLC. You know, like I feel like they're going to have to spend at least 15 minutes.
They're going to hype it up.
Yeah, they're going to hype it up. They're going to milk it for whatever they can.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm very excited to see this one Minecraft Legends, though, because that looked very cool during last year's announcements and things. That's like the RPG, open worldy type Minecraft game that's coming out sometime this year. So it's, that's definitely on my list for the year. I'm very excited to get my little square Minecraft hands on that one, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I wonder if they're going to announce anything new, probably some small indies that might come onto a Game Pass, stuff like that. But keen. I'm honestly, I don't know what really is coming out this year or anytime soon. So any news is good for me.
Honestly, there's so many lists floating around. Like when we were doing the research for the last episode of last year, we were finding like all of the. I honestly had to look up a list of things that are coming because it's just you can't keep track of it all.
Yeah, know? And most of the stuff is like, later down the year. Like, I don't know what's coming up soon.
And the things are like there's delays, there's, re-announcements, there's all this shit. It gets too much. For someone as well like us that are in this sort of space, like we're always, I still forget, like as much as we work with it, I still forget. So it's, it is just a bit of a pain, but it's, so hopefully that does come true. And then hopefully as well, Nintendo and Sony are just around the corner with a couple of announcements for each of those. I'd be very excited to see a little bit more Death Stranding 2 from Sony's side of things. And then obviously some more Breath of the Wild stuff from Nintendo as well. But it's, that Nintendo Direct should be happening probably sometime within the next couple of months as well, because Breath of the Wild is only a couple of months away now. It's like, coming up very shortly.
It's the first quarter?
It's May something. Yeah, so second quarter of the year. But we should be getting a Direct sometime soon, which will just be a Breath of the Wild stuff, So it's,
I can't wait.
I
think there's a rumored like Switch like set for Breath of the Wild.
Oh, for sure. They're going to be releasing a new Switch OLED model that'll have, like it engraved on the back or something. It's going to be a new design for sure. If they can do it with the latest Pokemon games, which has had absolute abysmal performance issues, they can do one for Breath of the Wild, and they most certainly will, because people eat that shit up like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is that bundle's not even going to come with the game. You're still going to have to buy the game on its own, but people will still do it.
That's fine.
People will still do it. Funnily enough, though, I have been considering upgrading my Switch to an OLED model, so I might just do that.
Oh, I have an OLED model. I like it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about doing it.
I'm surprised you didn't do it sooner, honestly.
Nah, look, when I saw they announced it, I was like, if it's a Pro, I'll do it. But when they announced the OLED, I was like,
oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I might still wait and see if there's some inklings of announcement of a Pro as well. I might just wait and do it then, but who knows? Moving on though, Jens, the last topic of the day, onto things, funnily enough, we just said we're very excited for Breath of the Wild, but I think I'm even more excited for this because it is just around the corner, right?
So
The Last of Us.
4 days.
4 days for us, man.
From record. 4 days from record.
4 days from recording. Yeah, by the time this episode goes live,
2 days.
it'll be 2 days. Yeah, damn. Okay, Sunday.
Sunday.
But yes, for those that are unaware, HBO, The Last of Us show, will be streaming on Binge here in Australia. So if you don't have a Binge account, I do recommend signing up for it sooner rather than later.
Although sad thing about Binge is that it's only going to be 1080p.
Yes, it will only be 1080p.
Gross.
I don't know why they do that down here. Like if it can stream in 4K, but like if it can stream 4K, but just get the 4K file. Just get the 4K file.
Well, they want your Foxtel money, so you can get a box and all that bullshit.
I'm not getting a box, Foxtel.
Well,
I'm not getting a box.
You want 4K? You gotta buy that box.
But the reason we're touching on this is not so much to go over like our preliminary thoughts of it. Obviously, we're both very excited and things. We haven't seen any of the episodes. Obviously, we're not that important. Unfortunately,
I haven't seen the trailer.
I've watched the trailer. The trailer looks exceptional. Oh my god, the trailer looks exceptional. But we're going to talk about it because the reviews. So a lot of industry insiders have watched all of The Last of Us,
they've
not
watched
just the first
all
episode, every single episode. which usually doesn't happen. Usually they're like, okay, you can watch the first 2 episodes and that's about it.
Oh,
But no, they
wait.
let them watch all of them.
Do you reckon they're going to be drip fed for us, the public?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, good.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'll be a weekly
if
thing.
some motherfucker watches all of them in one night and then spoils everything, I mean, there's not a lot to spoil if you're a gamer,
Yeah,
but still.
I mean, to be fair, like from watching the trailer, it looks like it follows the first game pretty well. You know?
Yeah, I think most
like
of the reviews say that it's like very close to the source material.
Yes.
But expands on it a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I saw an interview with the director or one of the producers for the show where they were like, yes, we have very heavily taken obviously influence from the first game and things like that. And you can see it during the trailer. Some of the shots are like 1-to-1 of what happens in the game, the sequences and things like that, or almost 1-to-1. But he said that the way that they've taken deviations and things is fleshing out the characters.
Yeah.
And a lot of the characters that you might not have interacted with a lot in the game, you obviously might have a little bit more time in the TV show to sort of flesh out their background or flesh out like their motivations and things like that. But yeah, so circling back, the reason we're touching on this is because the reviews of the people that have actually seen the show have been incredible. Like they've given it like 10 out of 10s, 8 out of 9s out of 10s, 17s out of, like it's just been
Rotten
off
Tomatoes is 97% right now.
Yes, yeah.
That's incredible for critic reviews.
We want to touch on it as well because I want to say, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own interpretations of it and things like that. These are critics. So it's, everyone's going to have their own personal opinion and things. But it's very exciting because a lot of the things that people have been saying have been that it's like, it's one of the best video game adaptations we've ever seen, basically. Which just excites me a lot.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I want it. I absolutely cannot wait for Sunday. It'll be like the first thing that I put on during the day and things like that. I forced Emma. We went out this morning. I got a capture card for her, so she's gonna stream the first game tonight because she hasn't played it at all. And I was like, just knowing what happens in the game and things, and having seen the trailer, I'm like, oh, it's gonna like if you watch the show, it's gonna spoil the game for you. So like, I feel like play the game first, then go into the show, having played the game.
I don't know. How long it'll take her?
No. The end does get quite rough in terms of just how hard it gets and things, but I think it took me around 15 hours to finish. I think on
she can do a 15-hour stream.
15 to 20 hours. But yeah, you could play like 5-6 hours tonight. You could play 5-6 hours tomorrow night. You could play the last couple of hours the night after that and then be done. You know? Like, so I think that's the game plan for it. But it's, I actually cannot wait for this show. And for all of the long-time listeners as well, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we used to do a little bit on this show right towards the end of the programs usually, where we'd go over an episode that we watched that week. You know, we'd pick a TV show that we'd watch week by week by week, and me and Jenz would give our thoughts on the last episode. We haven't been doing that recently just because there has been an absolute slew of TV shows that we haven't just had the chance to catch up on or sit down and actually watch week by week by week. But with Last of Us being so closely entwined with like Hello in terms of it being a video game sort of program and things like that, and us being pretty big heavily gamers, we're going to go back to doing weekly recaps of this show. So it'll be good fun as well because obviously all you guys are going to listen along to it and things, and you'll be able to sort of listen along each week and things and not get any spoilers pending you've watched the show. So it's but I can't wait for this, man. It looks so fucking good. And I hope it just reinvigorates, you know, video game adaptations and very good video game adaptations as well.
Yeah. You know? I hope it sets the new bar of this is what we hope for when it comes to video game adaptation.
I mean, like, can you imagine like a God of War movie? Like, how fucking epic would that be? Like, that. I mean,
God of War is a movie.
To be fair, God of War, it is, yeah.
But yeah, totally. Just, like,
you know.
And like Resident Evil, I don't know if the old TV series and movies hold up, but like stuff like that, I feel like could be really well explored.
Yeah. There's so much out there. There's so much like rich content out there that can be very easily adapted into it if you just take the time to adaptate it well, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of them, people just rush and things.
Well, they just don't get it. Like, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But no, yeah, the showrunners for this, one of the producers is actually the person that wrote The Last of Us and things. So, like, there's people that have had their hand in the whole pot the whole time that are working on the show. So it is, that's what I mean when I say it's like one of the most true to life adaptations of the game you can possibly get, you know? So it's, I cannot say it enough. I just can't wait for this show. You know, I can't wait. Next week is going to be popping. Oh.
It's going to be lit.
Oh. But yeah. All right, Jens, before I get any more excited, and before we run this episode into like an hour and a half for the first episode of the year, I think we might wrap it up there. But was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we did close out the episode?
No.
Yeah, no, nothing from me either. Thank you guys for listening to us. Thank you guys for being here for the first episode of the year. We all hope you had a lovely Christmas and New Year's and a little break over the New Year's as well, I hope, for a lot of you guys. There are going to be a bunch of gameplays coming out. We've already been uploading a couple over the Christmas break and things whilst we were away a little bit. So if you haven't watched those, make sure to go and check those out. That Maurice game is absolutely bonkers. There'll be more of that coming as well, so don't you worry. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the videos as well if you do like them, because there's always more content just around the corner. But as always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.